Remember when Obama got elected and passed healthcare reform? Then all those crazy bastard Tea Partiers showed up to yell at their members of Congress? Well, now that we have Trump occupying the White House and Republicans in Congress are taking a wrecking ball to Obamacare, the pissed off people are on our side now. It's called the resistance. You may have heard of it. But the Republicans in Congress are such cowards that they don't even want to go home to their districts and face their angry constituents in town halls across the country. So they're just canceling the congressional recess that's supposed to happen this summer. Here's what one Republican had to say for himself. Quote, "I think absolutely we should truncate or cancel recess. We have a huge agenda. I think we can get a lot of it done, but what we don't have is time. We can make more time." A Republican strategist called out his own party on not really doing much of anything while controlling the entire federal government, saying this, quote, "If you're going back and you're meeting with the constituents, what can you point to and say, this is what we've done after the first 6 months of controlling the entire apparatus of the federal government? What's been signed by the president? They haven't finished Obamacare. I don't see a balanced budget anywhere. I don't see an aggressive infrastructure package. I don't see tax reform." Yeah, with a list of horrible ideas like that, it's probably a good thing at this point that Congress is completely dysfunctional right now under the Republicans' leadership. And Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is leading the charge to steal health care away from 20 million Americans. And he wants to schedule a vote on that by July 4th. But it's probably not going to happen because they've spent the last 8 years chanting repeal and replace while not actually drafting any legislation to repeal and replace. So the bill they're working on is a bit rushed. So rushed, in fact, that it doesn't even exist yet. And it definitely hasn't been shared with the people who are supposed to vote on it yet. Here's what Mitch McConnell had to say about Obamacare a few years back being rushed and written in secret.
This massive piece of legislation that seeks to restructure 1/6 of our economy is being written behind closed doors without input from anyone in an effort to jam it past not only the Senate, but the American people.
They're such obvious fucking hypocrites. I don't even know why we let assholes like this off the hook every chance we get, instead of holding them accountable and beating them back by any means necessary, non-violently, of course. It's why Democrats have been getting their asses handed to them for the last 5 decades. It's why Republicans have the Senate and the House and the White House and 32 state houses and 33 governor's mansions. It's why 20 million Americans are going to lose their health care because we let guys like McConnell obstruct Obama for 8 years at every possible turn instead of playing hardball and kicking his ass out of leadership and out of office. People are literally going to die because we let assholes like McConnell off the hook. But I guess it's easier for some liberals to just lay down and fucking take it rather than do what's necessary to give assholes like Mitch McConnell an early retirement. However, there are some signs of hope in the ranks of the resistance, and thankfully it seems to be rubbing off on some of the younger Democratic senators. Here's a handful of them marching to the Congressional Budget Office in search of a copy of the Republicans' health care bill. Booker, Murphy, and Schatz began recording their march to CBO to find a health care bill that doesn't exist. Awesome, guys. Keep giving them hell and telling us the truth every chance you get, especially while Congress is so dysfunctional under Republican leadership that they're not even drafting bills and giving them to members of Congress in time to read them before they vote on them. And this one's pretty important, you know, as healthcare is 1/6 of the American economy and impacts the daily lives of millions of Americans. So in order to avoid their angry constituents and steal health care away from millions of Americans and actually write up that whole replacement for Obamacare, that's why Congress is considering canceling their regularly scheduled recess. But I think they should just go home, back to their districts, get an earful from their constituents, face the resistance, and realize just how far they've fallen away from where most Americans are at right now, especially as they sink further and further into the muck with Trump. So Congress, go take a working vacation back home in your districts and then come back to the nation's capital to fix some of the problems facing Americans rather than enabling the idiot man-child you helped install in the White House. Actually, you could start fixing problems there by initiating immediate impeachment proceedings, something most of America supports at this point. I'm Ryan Clayton. This is Content News. Come back daily for the news where we're free to share the truth.